the matter of the saga between Judge Aileen Cannon and the Orange Menace, in a recent video, I stated that her role is likely to be temporary and almost certain to correlate with the transiting Saturn, which you see here in the ephemeris listing, spanning from when the event originally took place, which puts us into early August, and all the way into March of 2023. A channel viewer, Joni S., I think correctly and perceptively pointed out that her role may be even shorter than that, and certainly the circumstances are pointing that way, because as it turns out, when I posted my recent video, almost concurrent with that, the Department of Justice was appealing the decision in the sense of now questioning her entire role as a judge in the case, appointing a special master, etc. And let's face it, there's a pretty good chance the 11th Circuit will side with the Department of Justice because they simply have a better case. And when you look at the overall feel of this for Aileen Cannon, she gets involved in a matter where it's difficult to win in the long term, obviously, because she just doesn't have the facts on her side, and she's doing so on a Saturn-Sun square. And I can tell you that there's no better way to put yourself behind the 8 ball than to attempt something that is very difficult to impossible on a Saturn-Sun square. And so, yes, it's true that you could say perhaps she hangs on until the early part of the year, but it's just as likely to be the case that the station at the end of October correlates with the end of the matter for her, or perhaps somewhere between October and the end of the year. It certainly doesn't have to go all the way to spring. Now, something else that I'll say is that you can see why she is aligned with Trump in this matter. Her Sun position at 25 Scorpio makes a trine to his Saturn-Venus 12th house conjunction, especially the Venus. And this is the idea of helping someone with those planets, aligning with those planets. And those planets are in the criminal house. This is where Trump does his constant criminality. You also see that her North Node connects to those two planets as well. And the North Node tends to be the person obsessed or overly drawn to the person with the planets. So in this sense, by having her nodes, especially the North, align with Trump's planets, cause her to, in a sense, become captive of Trump's agenda, which I think in this case is not a good idea and definitely will play against her, especially in the longer term. The other thing is that the Sun being trine the planets is good in that sense, but it does square the Mars, Trump's Mars, meaning that in no way, just because you go to a trine and you make something happen, help something to happen, that it's going to be in your best interest if there's a square pointing the other way. And if you keep looking at all our planets, you see, if anything, more squares than trines, because, for example, these Libra planets, broadly speaking, these are hers, Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter over here, and Libra projected in this way. Broadly speaking, they're trine Trump's Gemini planets, sextile his Sagittarius moon, but they square those 12th house planets, which suggests that she's trying to help, but may indeed do the opposite for Trump. It may become a problem in the near term or in the further term. It doesn't matter. And I had mentioned previously that her Neptune position next to his moon brings in a certain amount of sympathy, but opposing his Sun is highly problematic and again can become a big problem. And her Mars in the middle of Virgo is connected to his Gemini planets and Sagittarius moon by square, which is another problem. So bottom line, this is, as many are suggesting, a case of her doing something that is ultimately not going to accomplish what she's trying to do, and as a result, it's going to damage your reputation.